Hey everybody, I'm here today with a beginner driving lesson on driving through intersections. In this video, I'll be telling you exactly what you should do when you are driving through intersections as a beginner driver and an experienced driver. Now, this video is geared towards beginners, but by all means, I'm sure that experienced drivers can grab something to use from this video as well. There's 4 things that you have to do and sort of keep in mind and consider when you're driving through intersections. The first thing is to figure out if you have the right of way. Now, when you're approaching an intersection, you might have the right of way, you might not. So step number 1 is figure out if you have the right of way. Step number 2 is scan the intersection. Whether you have the right of way or not, you always have to scan the intersection once you've determined whether or not you have the right of way. Step number 3 is proceed with caution if you have the right of way. And also, if you don't have the right of way, allow the other person that has the right of way to proceed with caution. Step number 4 is always be ready to react, okay? So with that being said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive through a few intersections, a few different types of intersections, and I'm going to explain how I'm using these 4 things as I'm driving through the intersections, all right? Let's put the car in drive. We are buckled up, we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and let's move it. So, first and foremost, as you are driving through an intersection, okay, you have to figure out if you have the right of way. Now, this is going to be different for every place that you live and every driving situation. You know, you can't go and, you know, I can't give you a general rule or talk about the rules of the right of way because there are many rules. And I've done other videos that outline the different rules of the right of way, but you really have to figure out if you have the right of way. That's the first thing that you have to consider. Now, like I said, whether or not you have the right of way, you still have to scan the intersection. Just because you have the right of way doesn't mean that, you know, you could just go through. You still have to scan the intersection. So right now, I'm actually approaching a green light. I know that I have the right of way because the light is green and because of the whole driving situation. I'm also scanning the intersection. Now I'm proceeding with caution through the intersection. Now I'm gonna slow down because there's actually a construction machine driving slowly in front of me. I'm gonna switch lanes momentarily, but the point is that when you approach an intersection, first and foremost, you can't assume that you have the right of way. You have to determine if you have the right of way, okay? And if you do have the right of way, you still have to scan the intersection and you still have to proceed with caution. Now, as I'm driving through this green light right here, proceeding with caution does not mean like hovering over your brake pedal and pressing the brakes. No, it means that you're looking and you're not just assuming that you can make it through safely. You're proceeding with caution at the front of your mind, and you're always ready to react, which was step number 4. Now, here's the thing. As I approach every intersection that I drive through, and I'm just gonna turn over here. As I approach each and every intersection that I drive through, I'm not just driving through them, okay? I'm driving through them, I'm scanning, I'm proceeding with caution, and I'm looking at the cars that are approaching this way. I'm looking at the cars that are maybe making a left, you know, in the oncoming lane that might jump in front of me, because it's happened to every driver hundreds, if not thousands of times. You're driving, and all of a sudden someone just tries to make a left in front of you, and you have to slam on your brakes. And if you're not ready to react, you're at an increased risk of getting into an accident. If you are ready to react, you're likely going to be able to slam on your brakes on time, stop on time, and prevent yourself from getting into an accident and from potentially getting injured and potentially injuring others. Listen, I'm not talking about whether you're right or wrong. I'm not talking about if the other person is in the wrong. Sure, if someone cuts you off and tries to turn in front of you and you have the right of way, they're gonna be wrong and you're gonna be right. That's completely understandable. But with that being said, I'm not talking about who's right or wrong, because you have to be safe on the road. And that's why step number 4 is probably the most important step of actually driving through an intersection, and that is always be ready to react. So once again, just to recap the steps. For this driving lesson, when you're driving through an intersection, okay, step number 1, or the first thing to consider, is figure out whether or not you have the right of way. Very important, because you got to know who has the right of way. It's as simple as that. And if you have, you know, whether or not you have the right of way, you still have to scan the intersection, okay? That's step number 2, scan the intersection, okay? Now, step number 3 is, if you have the right of way, proceed with caution. Always proceed only with caution. Don't just go through. proceed with caution, okay? And if you don't have the right of way, then give the other person the heads up to proceed with caution, or the other person will likely just proceed with caution by themselves, okay? And then step number 4, and this is probably the most important one, and that's always be ready to react. You always have to be ready to react. It's as simple as that. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over the basic driving things to keep in mind for actually driving through intersections. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up to give me some power to get my voice back. If you like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.